Assalamu alaikum everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you are new, then welcome. My name is Maeve. Today I'm going to be telling you guys my revert story to Islam. My story really starts in two places. It starts when I was a little kid and how I was raised, and it also starts when I really found Islam and when I started to look into it. So we'll start way back when, down the timeline when I was just a little kid. I was raised with my mother and father in a Christian but not very practicing household. We didn't really talk about God often. It was kind of this unspoken thing, and I didn't really learn much about God until a little later in my life. I lived with my aunt and uncle for just about 3 years, a little under 3 years, and while I was living with them, I would go to my grandmother's every weekend for a sleepover, and every Sunday we would go to church. We would say grace at the table, and we would do lots of things that lots of Catholics do, or Christians do, but God was kind of this taboo subject that, you knew God and you talked about God occasionally, but you never asked any questions because God was just God, and it was your God, and you didn't really have the right to ask any questions. That's just the religion you were put with, and that was it. Now, when I was around, I want to say 11 years old, I moved back in with my mother, and we moved into this apartment that we live in now. Alhamdulillah, we found such a nice apartment, but we moved into this apartment and I was doing okay. I'm really struggling with my mental health. I started to develop a binge eating disorder, and I also struggled with just mental health in general. I had severe depression and the binge eating and lots of other undiagnosed disorders at the time. With all of those mental health struggles, that led me to end up going to an inpatient hospital, which is basically a psych ward. I went to an adolescent psych ward. I think I've been in the psych ward about... This is tough for me to talk about because I feel like it's embarrassing, and I know it's not. I mean, I know Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put me through these tests to test me, and that it's all it is a test, and I don't need to be embarrassed about it, but it's difficult to talk about for me, so excuse me if it takes me a little while to say certain things, but I want to be open and honest with you guys. So I went in probably more than 15 times. I've been inpatient. I've been out of inpatient for 5 months now, alhamdulillah, but it has been a really difficult journey. Now, when I was, I think I had just turned 14, and I'm 14. Oops. Like I was saying before I was rudely interrupted, I'm 14 now, and I think I had just turned 14. I will be turning 15 in May, so I'm pretty sure I had just turned 14 then, and I wanted to look into religions again. I was having a really difficult time with my mental health, and this had been maybe the 10th time I was inpatient, maybe even more. And I was just really struggling. So I decided to look into religion. I went on Amazon and I ordered a Bible. Now, I was just raised this way. We always had, Bibles in the house growing up, not in my mother's house, but at my grandmother's house when I would go with her on the weekends. We always had Bibles in the house. And that was just my immediate thought. I didn't really think about other religions. I just thought I need to get in contact with God. And I started to read the Bible, and I read maybe like half of it, and for me personally, and to each their own, like if the Bible and if Christianity or Catholicism is your thing, then amazing, like that's incredible. I'm so happy for you. But it wasn't my thing. I just couldn't really understand it. It was confusing, and it didn't feel clear. It felt like the Bible has been changed so many times that it just didn't make sense to me. It also confused me that the Bible wasn't written by God or written by one of God's messengers, but it was just written by someone who thought they believed in that God and what they thought had happened or what their perspective was on it. I have this really great memory where I was sitting at my grandmother's house with my dad, and I told him, "Dad, I ordered a Quran." And he said, "Really? Like, that's great." And he was really happy for me. He wasn't mad at me or seemed disgusted like some family members have. I mean, he seemed happy for me. I just remembered that memory. It's a little off topic, but it makes me happy. So a little bit after that, I decided to read the Quran that I had ordered from Amazon, and I originally ordered, it was a green hardcover Quran. I believe it was around $20, but I just felt like I needed something else. So I stuck with the Christianity for about a month, but I felt like I was praying to nothing. I felt like none of my prayers were being answered, and I tried to be patient, but I didn't feel a connection. So when I ordered that Quran, the second I picked up that Quran and began to read it, something clicked in my brain. The Quran that I had was an English translation with Arabic texts on the side, so I would attempt to read it, I would read the English translation, but every English translation from Arabic is a bit different, especially with the Quran. But I tried to read it and things just made sense. Something clicked in my brain. Something felt so right. I hadn't felt that way in so long. So I looked more into Islam because all I knew about Islam was that they were oppressive to women. That's all I knew. And well, that's all I thought I knew. That's not true, and I've learned that now. But that's what I thought. I thought women are forced to wear this cloth on their heads, and they have no choice, and they get arranged marriages, and they're forced to marry these men that they don't want to marry, and men are so controlling, and women have no control over their lives, and that's what I thought. So I thought, how could something so beautiful, this beautiful, beautiful Quran, how could something that was of that religion be so harmful? It didn't make sense to me. So I did a lot of research on it, and I shortly realized that Islam was not an oppressive religion, and it's actually the opposite of that. Islam was the first religion to give rights back to women after they had been taken away for so many years. I remember when I first read that, I thought, wow, that's amazing. And I looked more into it and just Islam in general, and I found that the believers go to heaven, or Jannah, and the disbelievers go to hell, or Jahannam. And I automatically thought of my family, and I thought, this can't be true. I can't just leave my family. I can't just attempt, inshallah, to go to Jannah and to leave my family to go to hell. I can't do that. So I took a little break, maybe like a week. It wasn't very long. And I thought about it. I watched tons of convert videos or revert videos. I watched my hijab story videos, and I just fell in love. I knew I wanted to wear hijab. I knew it. The second I looked into Islam, the second I found out that it's not oppressive and it is a choice, and I really understood the beauty and the meaning of hijab, I really, really wanted to wear the hijab. So the first thing that I automatically did was go and tell my older sibling. I went to my older sibling after watching these videos for weeks and weeks, and like reading the Quran. I read a good amount of the Quran before I converted. I think I read almost the entire Quran, and I just thought to myself, I think this is what's for me, because it made me happy. So before even looking into anything else, I watched some more videos on prayer and how to pray, and I thought 5 times a day, that's ridiculous. But soon I learned that Salah is a gift. Salah is not a burden. Salah is a burden for the people that are disbelievers, and Salah is a gift for the believers. Now, even now, sometimes I go through depressive episodes where I don't feel like praying. But I know when I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, please, Ya Allah, please give me motivation to pray, to do what I need to do. Inshallah, He will answer my prayers. And inshallah, they will be answered quickly. But I know I need to be patient. I remember the first person I told was my older sibling, and I said, so I've been looking into religion recently. And they said, that's great. What have you been looking into? And I said, Islam. And they said, that's really cool. And they were just so they weren't like overly supportive. That's like, oh my gosh, that's amazing. Like, you know, those people. But they were just like, that's really cool. I'm really happy for you. And I told them I wanted to tell my mom. And they said, I don't know what they're going to think. I mean, they were supportive, 100%. I love my older sibling, but I didn't know what my mom was going to think. So I literally went with my older sibling, sat down at the kitchen table where my mom was playing Candy Crush and said, Mama, I think I want to convert to Islam. She looked at me with this look on her face, and she was just like, what? My mom, like many people, does not like change, and change is a really difficult thing to deal with. Of course, she'd never heard of this before, and she'd never known anything about Islam except the fact of what everyone thought. They're terrorists, they're oppressive, they're horrible people, which is so not true. It is all about peace. Islam is all about peace. After I told her that I wanted to order some hijabs and some more modest clothing. I immediately wanted to put on the hijab. And I do personally think I put on the hijab too soon. I don't think I was ready to put on hijab because I wasn't doing it for the right reasons. I was doing it just because, oh, I'm Muslim and I have to wear hijab. But I didn't really understand the beauty of it yet. I understood the beauty of it, but I didn't understand the meaning behind it and why we wear it. I thought we just covered ourselves from men. No, that's not the only reason we wear hijab. It's not for men. So I ordered that, and I went ahead and just tried on the hijab when they came in a few weeks later. And it was like this experience that I had never experienced before. Like this connection that I felt with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that I had never felt before. I truly felt so powerful when I dressed modestly. Way more powerful than when I would go to the beach in a bikini. Now, women, if you go to the beach in a bikini, if you go to the beach in a burkini, if you go to the beach in a tankini, if you go to the beach in a jumpsuit, if you go to the beach in a abaya, you are beautiful no matter what. You could go to the beach butt naked, or you could go to the beach covered from head to toe wearing niqab, and you would still look beautiful. Either way. Every single woman, every single human, every single thing that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created is absolutely beautiful in its own way. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala makes no mistakes. So don't ever forget your worth and your beauty. I remember before looking into Islam, I was looking into witchcraft. And that was probably one of my biggest regrets. I was looking into like paganism and Wicca. I don't really know the difference between the two, but I was looking into one of them. And I think I was looking into both, but more Wicca. I didn't buy any books or anything on it, but I did just look into it. And it was just not for me. I just didn't really feel connected to it, and also it felt weird thinking some of the religions and some of the beliefs that people have are that there's more than one God, and that felt weird to me. I didn't really like thinking that there was more than one God. I liked to know that there's one all-being, all-knowing God, and that's what made the most sense to me in my brain. So I remember when I first looked into that, I was kind of turned off from religion, and I didn't want to look into religion anymore. But then I found Islam, and my mind changed. Here I am 10 months later, alhamdulillah, and I am a full-time hijab-wearing Muslim, and I love my religion. I have truly found peace in my life and in myself, and I truly love myself and realize that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala makes no mistakes and that I am worthy of life. Last but not least, I just want to say that I want to thank you for watching this video, and if you are thinking of converting to Islam or learning more about Islam, I truly recommend it to you. Islam has literally saved my life. Literally saved my life. I think if I hadn't found Islam yet, I would probably be dead by now. Or if I wasn't dead, I would probably be doing things that I know I shouldn't be doing, and hurting people and hurting myself. So if you're in a tough place, or even if you're not in a tough place, even if you're doing amazing in life and you want to look into Islam, please do it. Please. Alhamdulillah, it is the best thing that has ever happened to me, ever.